This is part two of the 9th Zwartkops International Historic Race Meeting. And here we feature once again some of the best-looking, most effective racing cars produced in the 50s to 80s. All part of the Passion for Speed weekend at this Pretoria circuit and brought to you by Castrol Edge, Goodyear and its associate sponsors. The weather certainly played its part at Zwartkops. It was cool and overcast most of the day, with the Nashville high-fell thunderstorms expected this time of the year staying away. As some of the best-looking racing cars in history and some of the most famous names came out to play. First up in the program are the 37 cars that grid, led by Peter Lindenberg in the 40-year-old Gunston Capri. There it is on pole position. It was built by Basil Green. He's ahead of Paolo Cavalieri, Uri Sani and Richard Sorensen, back from Dubai in a Datsun.
Peter Piranha's going like a rocket as always on pole.
Yeah, it's the car's amazing. I always say the same stuff. Basil Green built that car. It's tomorrow. It's 40 years to the day that it ran and won its first race at Kyle Army, and the car's just unbelievable. It's fantastic. But to be honest, it's the end of the road for it. We've decided. It's going to do this race. We're going to do Cape Town with it next week. We're going to take it to Lower Marat, to Jan Rupert's farm for that time trial at the end of February. Then it's going to get parked in Colin Lance's museum.
This is a national mobile race for pre-84 historic saloons, led as we see there by Peter Lindenberg, and as he says, going to be parked in a museum afterwards. It's been a very successful car. Let's see if it can win one of its last races.
On his inside, Rog, is a magnificent car as well. Paolo Cavalieri in the Winfield BMW. That's a replica of Tony Viana's machine. As they head into turn one, Uli Sani tucks in behind, and then comes Richard Sorensen. Not getting a good start off the line there. He was bogged down slightly now, right into the thick of it. And up his inside, the Sirocco there, off Van Rooyen.
A real little giant killer. Yannick Van Rooyen, his favourite motor car. Behind him, he's got Josh Broom and that yellow Escort. Look at him coming through. The colourful one, the red and yellow one, is Neil Lobb. On his tail, he's got Escorts aplenty. And then Mike O'Sullivan, the BMW. Paolo Cavalieri's got Uri Sani right at his tail, Yannick Van Rooyen. Here's Neil Lobb doing very well in that 131. And 222, that yellow Escort, very effective motor car of Josh Broom ahead. And look at here, they're onto braking. It's Peter Lindenberg trying to go through in the inside. It's Uri Sani. It's a V8 leading straight sixes. We've got Paolo Cavalieri, we've got Uri Sani, and creeping through. A very good piece of driving there is Richard Sorensen in that Sabat Nissan, a very famous motor car, that one.
Yeah, that's Henny van der Linde's ex-championship machine from the Westbank Modified Saloons of the early and late 80s. As they come through Goldwagen Corner now, it looks like he's moved up into third place. He's got the BM of Cavalieri in his sights, and it's a matter of time before that Nissan catches up onto the back end. There we see Yannick Van Rooyen coming through, and here comes the battle. Wetting up the inside. Can he sneak through? Neil Lobb slams the door shut and goes towards turn two, still maintaining that 6th place.
Neil Lobb's the champion and notice won the Can-Am Shelby Can-Am series. Trying to get through the inside is Neil Wetton. Very hot little Escorts, and so's that one just behind Josh Broom as they accelerate out of the hairpin. Here they come now. A whole field of cars. You can see Datsuns and Escorts. There are plenty. Those cars very popular because of their rear-wheel drive. We've got a smoking tyre there, and Louis Clutie in that Beetle staying right with those Escorts. Where you ever see that in the world, a Beetle going that way?
It's amazing to see. Look at the cars that are involved here. You've got Mark 1 Escorts, you've got Renaults. Up the inside, that looks like it's Jason Finney. Yes, Jason Finney making up one more position there in the Renault. Nice bit of driving them for him. If he can keep it all together, you see if we can get it a little bit further up the field. But we've got action aplenty in Sassel Corner as they come through there. As the Sabat Nissan of Richard Sorensen looks for a way past into turn 6. Can he do it? Yes, he can. That's a good bit of driving.
Brilliant piece of driving. You could hear it above the others. A very famous sound that Nissan was the Henny van der Linde, as Greg says. It's won 56 events in a row, won championships. Richard Sorensen, or Dick Sorensen, his father, took it over, also went about winning, and now Richard, as we say, from Dubai, has come back to drive this car and is doing very well. He's got himself into 2nd spot. Now the heat's on Paolo Cavalieri in that Winfield BMW. Uli Sani is the financial director of BMW. These are real BMW fans, these guys. Here they come, heavy on the brakes. Big fight going with those big straight 6 motors.
The most important thing, of course, Raj, is the people that were on the sideline here, and there was close to 10,000 people here today. It was an awesome spectacle to see, and once again, Nissan versus BMW at the front end of the field. The Afrikaans boys on the back straight were going absolutely mad.
Absolutely. As into the corner goes Theo van Vrede, who's a man from BMW as well. Here's Louis Clutie in the BMW. Colin Neal comes through in his Mercedes. We've got quite a few Mercedes now getting into this form of racing. In fact, 123 is David Hull in his Escort, that colourful red and gold one. Here we go. Barry Scott, he's always been in the wars, up in the in the fight is Barry Scott in number 9, the Escort. Here's the big fight. The BMW's for third position. Going on the inside, Sally Madami didn't work. He had to brake very hard there.
Yeah, big time. The Batmobile looking for a way past, but good driving from Cavalieri to keep him at bay. Oh, we got traffic. They're in the traffic. The leaders are in the traffic now. Peter Lindenberg under big pressure. Richard Sorensen looking for a way up the inside, but look at that. Lindenberg right on the inside of the circuit. Not going to let that Saybat Nissen through. Let's see if he can keep it all together now as they go through turn 2, up onto the back straight. Watch out for Sorensen. I think he might get him down the back straight away.
Here's Neil Lobb now just a little bit further behind. Ahead of him he's got Neil Wetton sending that 131. He's doing an exceptional job there. I've got to say he's up in about 6th or 7th position and leading Class D. Wetton goes onto the brakes as they get up onto the shell. It's Wetton, and coming up the inside there's Joshua. This fight's gone on. He's lost out of position as Neil as he got onto the shelf and braked for that right-hander.
The Fiat had no answer to the Ford there, unfortunately, but now the Ford's putting massive pressure onto Wetton. Oh, he gets it sideways. Woo-hoo, that was close. Man, Neil Lobb had his heart in his stomach there. I tell you, that was close. Wowee.
He just missed him. This has been a real feature of this race, this battle with these three. And he's keeping the pressure on his Neil Lobb. Flying down. Here comes the lead. He's taken over the lead. It's Richard Sorensen taken over the lead from Peter Lindenberg. And the flag is out, and he takes a very, very popular win ahead of that Basil Greenbuilt Piranha V8 Caprice. Straight 6 wins it there. Sorensen, Lindenberg, Uli Sani got the better of Paolo Cavalieri, Yanni van Rooyen and the Giant Killer in the Little Sirocco, then Neil Wetton, Neil Lobb and Josh Broom in 8th.
Rich, first of all, welcome back to the country. It's great to have you back here, but what a way to come back.
Thank you, Greg. Exactly what we wanted, I didn't think it was going to be easy, but in fact it wasn't, it wasn't easy, but we got there.
There's certainly a good dice between yourself and Peter. The BM was there for a while, but unfortunately you guys seem to have the legs on him at the end.
Yeah, we had a bit of a problem with the gearbox in practice, so that held us back a bit. Otherwise, I think the Skyline's a bit quicker than those cars, but the Capri's quick. Peter was pushing, getting through the traffic well. I didn't think I'd get him, but he got held up by a few guys. I got onto him and he capitulated, it seemed that way anyway. He eventually sort of didn't want to go too hard, so.
Next up are the Post-74 Sports and GT cars sponsored by Goodyear. And France Pretorius, and of course the 956 on pole. Simon Murray in a Speed has got a higher Busher engine with Grant O'Bell in a similar engine car in 3rd position in Nardine.
Grant, great to be racing here at this Springbok Series, but I'm sure you must be having some fun and games in mind when you come to think that the slightly newer cars are being pipped against the older ones.
Yeah, but it's awesome to be here. It's the first race we've been invited back to the Piper Day, and it's probably the best racing day of the year. So it's like quite a privilege for us to be here and having a hell of a lot of fun, and we're going to give it horns up.
Well, there's a 10-lapper here for this Goodyear Sports Car Challenge. It's 35 cars. The circuit is packed with high-speed machinery, ready to go. There's nobody going to come close to that 956. Lovely to have it in South Africa. It's a unique motor car. Not many of those left in the world. Going into 2nd position, we've got Simon Murray, and then we've got Grant O'Bell in 3rd position. Onto the brakes for the hairpin. The adrenaline is really pumping. 12 going through on the inside is James Thorpe in that very hot Opel engine little Lotus 7. He'll be right up with the others. Andre Bazona, we don't see enough of him. Very hot car from the 70s, actually, as they come down towards us.
That's the RSR, and here comes the SC. That's Patrick Goddard. A whole bunch of Lotuses thrown in for the mix here, and really giving it. As you can see, they're having fun too, because you're not allowed to do that, and I'm not allowed to do this. That's what they're saying to each other heading into turn number 2. The bunker racing boys are at each other's throats once again. And that's part of Lotus.
It is. They're everywhere. If you're in a larger saloon car, you can't see them below. You just hear the noise. Right, the 956 is there. But have a look. 1300cc Hayabusa Suzuki engine cars. Here's Forbes, and on the outside, there's a hot one. Is Clippy's quicker. He's got one of the BMW touring car engines under the bonnet of that car. He's been a champion, and Clippy is so fast.
Forbes has got the Opel engine in, so it's BMW versus Opel, though. Even though they're in the Lotus bodies, just behind comes Andre Bazona. That's the RSR machine. It's a very, very popular machine when it came to the 70s in Le Mans, and it won a couple of the Le Mans championships. This particular car, running in Martini colors, used to run in the Kouros colors of the Kouros Porsche team. So good to see him out there. He's the man, of course, behind Luendo, which is part of the BEE stuff here at Zwartkops.
72 comes through is David van der Merwe. He's in a Lotus 7. Well, there's the Birkin 109 from Cape Town. He keeps the Porsche thing going in Cape Town, Keith Road. 72, as we say, Derek van der Merwe, another Lotus. They have great fun. Those cars seldom slide out, seldom spin, but who knows on a day like this. Right, the brakes are on there. Simon Murray on his tail. He got tagged there. Gee, Greg, and that's the way to go passing. And Grant or Bell gets past. He won't be too happy about it. He was leading, but they are right on the limit as they come through that right hand.
I'm a bit concerned that Simon Murray's going to go back to Grant or Bell and say, hey, I'm not his lordship. You don't have to take me out. You know, that's exactly what Grant did last year when Laidlaw was in the Ferrari. Here comes this battle. Kricher still on the tail, looking for a way past Forbes, but Forbes is absolutely hauling, as you said. This Opel machine is absolutely perfect for the circuit.
Yeah, they've been swapping and changing all around the circuit. Andre Bezuidenhout just behind. He's a lawyer, an attorney. He's on their tail there in that very hot car of his. 86 from Cape Town is Rudy Pateur in a Lola, a T86. Nice number. It's got the right number for it too. Right, more Nardini's coming through. This is a car that is certainly getting people into racing. 109 is Keith Rose once again. You see him out in all competition. Cape Town, up here in Gauteng. He's everywhere in that motor car.
He loves his little Carrera and he puts it into very good pace too as they come through there, battling amongst those slightly lower sports cars. The Nardini just ahead of him. And you can see now these things are starting to heat up all the way through the field. Coming into our pictures now, that's the 930. That is Ferrari, looking good in that 930 as well. The 930 Turbo, also a very popular car when it came to Sports Car Challenge.
Here's the leader now. It's Dave Ferrari, a Dr. Dave Ferrari from Nelspruit down in Pumalanga. Here's the leader. What a motor car. What car that could do 40. Kaiser, now we said they don't spin too easily. Here's Grant Bell. He tagged Simon Murray up at the top of the circuit. Always seems the circuit will bite you back a little further around.
It certainly does. If you're not 100% right going through turn one, you can get it completely wrong. So he's dropped down to 4th place there. Let's see if he can maintain and maybe make up one more position. Down the back straight, you can see Simon Murray starting to make his way. Can he get up through Kricher? Yes, he can. Sneaks up, and unfortunately, Kricher had no answer there. Clippy's Kricher has now been demoted one position back.
Now they're getting more and more people into this Lotus form. They look so comfortable in those motor cars. Here comes Simon Murray in the black car on the inside. He goes on the inside there of Anton Miller, comes through. You can see the acceleration. That higher Busher engine never gives trouble a run for 24 hours. They're so reliable. And Kricher starting to get through the field too. There's one competent driver combination. No doubt about that one. Yeah, and John Grieve, who won at the 9-hour meeting at Kyle Army's looking very good too.
Certainly is. RSR versus 911 SC. These guys not holding back. Andre Bezuidenhout, I'd like to see him in some more action because he really can pedal that RSR who's around. It's great to see it in full flight because that car has got a very unique sound. But here's another unique car about to come and take a victory. The Trust Racing Porsche of Frans Pretorius. And the man who originally drove that car is here today as well, George Fischer. He'll be happy to see that car take another checkered flag at the Passion for Speed weekend. So Frans Pretorius takes the victory, a massive margin between himself and second place James Forbes. Then it was Simon Murray, Clippy's Kricher, Andre Bezuidenhout there in 5th place, and John Grieve finishing up in 6th in the magenta Porsche.
Here are two stars of the show, a B16 Chevron and a 312 Ferrari of Irvin Laidlaw that won our 9-hour in the 1970s. All Bell the quickest on the circuit, but just on the second ahead of Laidlaw. Jonathan DeToy, very good in the Chevron B8. Garth Oberski in his new T70 Lola. John Selden from overseas in the Chevron. And how's that for a grid of classic sports cars, racing cars with Grant Bell on pole in a car that only brings out actually, Greg, once a year to come racing.
Yeah, and it's going to be resuming the battle from 2008 here, Rogers. They come flying through here. Remember, Irvin Laidlaw and Orbell came together with about 1 lap to go, and the Ferrari ended up in the wall just outside Goldwagen corner.
There's a score to be settled there. Isn't that a beautiful car, that Lola T70 on inside Oliver DeLay? He comes from Mauritius. He's got his grown fins on the back there, those long bodies on those Porsches were fitted there to get the weight onto the back wheels so they didn't wheel spin when you gave them a stick. Here's John Selden on the inside, number 7. Isn't that a beautiful little B16? Same as the leading car of Grant Bell. That's the red one of John Sheldon. So a real little beauty as they come up the hill. Laidlaw's in 2nd position. Then 7 is Sheldon on his tail. And in flying there is Jonathan DeToy in the local B8 Chevron. These Chevrons are everywhere, all over the Ferrari. But that Ferrari, that flat 12-inch, got a sound all of its own. Really has got the legs down the straight. There's no doubt he's got acceleration. Look what he just does and gets away from. But those little Chevrons, they're so nimble around the corners and they make up all that space as they get into the weaving bits.
Well, you can see the Goodyear tyres working double time there on the Ferrari, trying to keep those guys behind. And this is Goodyear-sponsored race as they come through turn 1 further back. This is not like like Garth Werberski. He's normally a little bit quicker than that machine. And then a whole bunch of sports cars on his tail. There's Poseidon once again. So he's basically just had a couple of minutes rest and then back out in amongst the fray.
And there's a danger man amongst those, the B19 Chevron, Gerry van Zyl. We also only see him once a year, as we do that Andre Bezuidenhout. That's meeting here, normally called the Piper meeting. People used to say we build our cars for the Piper meeting. The Chevron, Grant Bell in the front. And Laidlaw, where's Laidlaw gone, Greg?
Ferrari's gone, Raj. I don't know, maybe in turn 2 he's got it wrong. I'm not quite sure what went wrong there, but the Ferrari has definitely disappeared from this pack as the Porsches all come flying through behind Werberski. Werberski holding a couple of those guys up. There he is. He's parked in turn 2. Oh, that's a bit of a pity. Maybe a little bit of cold tyres.
Yeah, could have happened there. He's not having a lot of luck here at Zwartkops, no doubt about it. Because that car, I mean, won the 9-out Kyle Army. It's certainly a very capable car. He's getting pulled out more or less unceremoniously by the trusty Land Rover, which pulls quite a lot of cars out the fences. There's the leader coming through. Racing is resuming now. The pace car had been out for a little while. Oliver Delay, number 22, is right there. Colin Froster's in his tail. Another 22 is the car of Andre Bezuidenhout. So a really impressive car. That's the Colin Frost car. It's done very well in that motor car. In its original Lucky Strike colours, nice to see. There's the Martini colours there of Andre Bezuidenhout. On his tail, Gerry van Zyl. As I say, he only comes out once a year to race, and he's starting to get the hang of it and starting to move up through the field. Definitely a danger man.
Yeah, Raj, I think he was using it as a bit of a warm-up there, just to make sure that everything was okay, shaking the car down, making sure the setup was right, because he was going to be participating in the Springbok Series rate a bit later on in the day. But Gerry van Zyl tucked in behind that RSR, onto the braking markers once again, sprinting out. Poseidon around the outside, Colin Frost hanging on for dear life. Oh, Werberski made a mistake. Looks like he's going to be taken by the Porsche. Yes, he is.
Yes.
Werberski made a mistake into turn number 6, and that's going to cost him dearly. He's now dropped down one more position.
But he's making a comeback here. He comes in that T70. They don't get much better looking than a T70 Lola. In fact, those cars were the pre-runners of the GT40s. I think Lola built the first GT40s. And funny enough, a name like Carroll Shelby has been involved in all those, whether it be Cobras and GT40s. Carroll Shelby's been a lot. In fact, the DB Aston Martin we saw in the last program of Irvin Laidlaw was the car that Shelby actually won Le Mans in.
Oh, big tap here. Colin Frost and Bezuidenhout coming together in turn 2. He went for the inside line and unfortunately had the door slammed on him, had nowhere to go, and just spun out the 917. So the Lucky Strike machine being taken out by that Martini Racing RSR.
And he doesn't hang around to say sorry either. John Grieve has now got another GT40. That's Anton Repsol. His father, Dave Repsol, was very big in the West Bank Racing, was Dave in Corollas. And here he is now. He got his son in a GT40 looking very good. 50s France Pretorius, that high-Q car. And it's unusual to see him down the pack. He won in the 956 and now he's back in a 911 in the race. Here we come. The leader comes down the road. He's got past there the 97 car of Dylan Miller. Also having lots of experience getting into these Porsches with his father, Steve. Right, it's, the fight goes on still with Garth Werberski's got Andre Bezuidenhout, and there's Fred Phillips. He's driving one of his cars from the Phillips collection. This time's also B19 Chevron. Looks very nice in the Lucky Strike colours.
That's the car that won in PE as well, right? So it has got a bit of turn of pace. Up here on the Highveld, though, battling maybe with the altitude as they come through, and to complete another lap out of Goldwagen corner, Werberski hanging on for dear life with 1 lap to go.
Yeah, they're looking for 4th position there. Here they come down the road. It's a serious fight going on. That Porsche's from 1974, can you believe it? It's still so competitive. The Lola's a replica or a rebuilt classic cars. The leader comes down the road on his way to the flag. I see the windows missing from the doors. He comes through. He gets the flag from Henny de Beer. Gives a little victory swerve there, and another one there for Grant Bell in that B16 Chevron. A real beauty.
No, I think you might be happy with that. Bell's going to take it. It's going to be a superb day's racing for that team. And second place, Jonathan du Toit in the Chevron. Very quiet, but very consistent. Gerry van Zyl up there in the B19 in 3rd. Werberski eventually in 4th, ahead of Andre Bezuidenhout and Oliver Delay. Your Lordship, it doesn't seem to be working at Zwartkops in this particular car. Last year, some problems, and here.
Well, a bit of driver error. I went into the corner a little too fast. It just understeered off completely. I think tires are a bit cool, and I should have realised that and just taken a little bit more carefully on that hairpin.
Anything terminal? Can we get it fixed?
No, I think it'll be fixed. I hope for this afternoon, but most certainly for Killarney. But there's no damage.
I haven't heard a broad Scottish accent like that since the days of Jackie Stewart racing here in South Africa. Right, next up is the Saf Marine single-seaters. There are 8 visitors from overseas for this 15-lapper amongst the 24 entries entered for this race. Some of these cars 60 years old.
Alan, all going according to plan here this weekend. Second on the grid and looking good.
Well, yes, I'm very hopeful. It'd be a close run thing, I'm sure. I'd done about 9 laps and came in and thought I'd done enough. And his lordship hit me by, what, 300ths or something?
Yeah, 2400s in it and nothing to it.
So it's all to play for, yeah. It should be a great race. I mean, hopefully that's what a good race is made of, isn't it?
Later on the left-hand side, he's slowing down. That car in the middle of the road has slowed down. They're starting to go around him, looking down at his rev counter. Something's happened to his car. As away goes Alan Bailey, and I reckon it's all cut and dried. You're not going to beat Alan Bailey. Here he comes. He's a tiny wee guy, and that guy fits in so well into that little Cooper 75 round. That's what we got a spinner there, number 34. Which is
Irvin Van Gelder. Irvin Van Gelder getting it wrong into turn 2. Good start from Mike Ward around the outside. He goes flying up the outside of car 40, Marcus Musa. Marcus Musa's the man who won here last year, but Alan Bailey's got away from this field, and I don't know if they're going to be able to catch him because he's got a real good little car.
He has, certainly, but for the dice for second position is going to be a very close one. But Bailey's on his bicycle. Very hard to beat. He's a lightweight driver as well. 75 is Steve Crooks, the South African. Coming through in the inside is Mike Ward. And then we've got Marcus Musa. A wily driver this. He just waits for the right position, gets his feel of the race, and then he starts to make his move.
We actually saw Mike Ward's son last week spinning out in the Saloon Car Series. Keegan, unfortunately, not having a good day as what his dad is, as they come flying through Goldwagen Corner now. Mike Ward in 3rd place, looking for a way past Steve Crook, but Musa is all over the back of them and looking for a way past as well.
Bailey's Crook, then it's Mike Ward, then it's Marcus Musa. Very quick little motorcar, loves racing here. They also brought Doug Mockett out from the USA. He loved it here so much last year. He's brought another American driver out with him as well. Here comes Mark du Toit going very well. It's an LDS, a South African built car. Number 25 is Patrick Dunseith in that very distinctive yellow Merlin. And they're having a grand time. But watch Mark du Toit. He's going very quickly. He's starting to close up in the pack. There he was in the distance. Crook, it's Ward, and then it's Marcus Musa staying with that pack.
Certainly are, as they come through and looking good up towards Cecil Corner now. A bit of a move there from Mike Ward. Can he make it stick there? Steve Crook might not have an answer. Late braking from Ward. He sneaks up and gets into 2nd place. Steve Crook did not have anything there to allow his car to stop Mike Ward coming through into 2nd place. So now Mike Ward has got an opportunity to break away from this little pack and see if he can catch Alan Bailey out in front.
You've just got to keep the pressure on. Here's a car right from the 60s when they started Formula V racing, a capital V, that's number 72. It's Peter Koenig. I mean, he's been one of the mainstays, the stalwarts of Formula V racing. Here they come. This is what they looked like in the early days when Dave Clapham got this formula going, and the cars were built there by Capital Motors. Other cars that are coming through, that we got number 26, that's Peter Fiss and a Ducker V. Ducker V is a good name, Greg.
Yeah, we saw Charles McCabe also in the Lotus Climax coming through. So lots of guys going through there, really good. And it's Egypt Street that we're flying through. I tell you, it's good to see new sponsors getting involved, but the reason they're getting involved is this kind of action happens at Zwartkops.
Ward's gone to 2nd position ahead there of Steve Crooks. Still Musa, and Steve Crooks has gone wide. So that gives 3rd position there to Marcus Musa. And here comes Mark du Toit coming up the road in his LDS. Going very quickly, of course he knows the circuit so well. Mark du Toit can drive saloon cars, big American saloons, he can drive sports cars, he can drive the lot.
He's pretty good in the super hatch too, although we'll have to wait and see if he can retain his title. Now as they come into the closing stages now, look at these magnificent machines. Number 10 getting it wrong there, Fred Phillips. He's just been out in the Chevron. Maybe he's not used to the lack of power from the single-seater.
Another car from the Fred Phillips collection, and here comes, he goes on the inside there. Brian Tyler's very big into getting these cars from overseas. Is Brian very keen? He's got an LD as well. You can see the difference between the Mark du Toit one and also this car of Brian Tyler's. There's Fred Phillips leading him through there. Nice looking motor car that was built by Doug Sorare, LDS they call it, based very much on a Brabham racing car. Here we go, still Mike Ward. He's got Musa starting to move in 2nd and 3rd position. Elevati in the meantime is gone. They're coming up on Richard Baker. He's one of the early Coopers, the type of car that was raced originally by Sterling Moss, can you believe, with a 500 Norton or Jap engine. I think they might have a Yamaha engine in that one, but still they're from 1951. That's what they look like. Oh, somebody spun it. It's Mark du Toit. Can you believe it? Catching up there for a 2nd or 3rd position, and he spun it in the Egypt Street.
Yeah, unfortunately just getting it all wrong there, and so does Mike Ward right in front of Musa. A full 360-degree turn. Oh, and he keeps it all together, keeps it in 2nd gear, puts the clutch in. Great driving, Mike Ward. Well held, bud.
These guys are trying. They're doing everything. They know to really press on. Here we come, number 25 is Dunseith. Eddie Perk, that car behind there is a Heron Alpha. I think it was raced by the Petersons out here. He comes from the UK. Eddie's got a couple of cars he brought out with him. Nice looking motor car, that one. And the Heron Alpha did very well in the Peterson stable in the 70s. Here's another famous car. It's Hunstead in the what they call the Spider 1950 MG. That's what they look like in 1950. Front engine motor cars. They all file through. Number 18 is Roger Newman from the UK. He's in a Brabham.
Checkered flags out though, Rog, and it's going to be Alan Bailey to take the victory in the Saf Marine single-seaters. He just snuck up the inside there. Very, very calm, cool and collected race, and superb effort in the Cooper Ford. Marcus Musa eventually finishing in second due to Mike Ward's spin out at the top of the hill. Steve Crook in fourth, and Mark DeToy eventually in fifth. Join us just after the break for some more action from part 2 of our coverage of the 9th International Historic Race Meeting from Zwartkops.
Jack Osborne, son of crazed Black Sabbath rocker Ozzy Osbourne, and daredevil to some of the most adrenaline-fueled extreme sports in the world. This guy has no limits.
See you in heaven.
Jack travels the globe with his celebrity friends and family in search of the thrill ride of a lifetime.
We're doing it because it's dangerous and it's fun.
It's jaw-dropping, it's heart-stopping, it's butt-clenching, and it's certain to leave a stain on the celebrity's brains. Jack Osborne, No Limits, coming soon, only on Animax, Channel 126.
This Friday, the Highlanders will be looking to inflict pain on their Auckland rivals at Carisbrook. It's the Highlanders versus the Blues, available in HD. The Reds are in for a tough time when the 7-time champions start their overseas crusade. It's the Reds versus the Crusaders.
Try and stop me.
The Shark Tank will be a feeding frenzy when the Cheetahs go on the prowl. It's the Sharks versus the Cheetahs.
Predict without the Knicks.
The Pride of Johannesburg are on the hunt for points against last year's runners-up. It's the Lions versus the Chiefs, available in HD. This Friday, be up for the challenge. Exclusive to Supersport. Proudly brought to you by Vodacom, the greatest supporter of Player 23.
This Saturday, the Red Devils like the sweet taste of victory and will want more against the Toffees. Everton versus Manchester United, available in HD. It's in! The Gunners have been on target of late and need to build on this form against the Black Cats. Arsenal versus Sunderland. The Blues are on the hunt for silverware, but can Wolves stop Ancelotti?
The color of football continues to brighten every week in the Serie A. Find out whose dedication saw them through. See who's becoming the envy of the competition. Witness the contest for Serie A domination. This is the color of football. All the celebrations and frustrations from this week's Serie A classes. The Serie A Highlight Show, every Tuesday and Thursday, where world football lives. Only on Supersport. Brought to you by Peroni Nastro Azzurro.
Back at Zwartkops International Raceway for the second part of our program. For this, the 9th Zwartkops International Historic Race Meeting. The second race today for the National Mobile Pre-74 Historic Tin Tops. And let's see if Phil Lindenberg can give the Ford Capri one of its last wins before being retired to a museum.
Into turn 1, he gets the whole shot, and look at that, right on his tail. Ulisani outdoing Cavalieri. Where is Richard Sorensen though? Sorensen parked in pit lane, wasn't even in his leathers to get into the car, and now has to start from pit lane and come through a field of 36 cars to see if he can maybe make a double for the day.
That's going to be a big job for him. There's 36 cars in this field, can you believe it? 350 cars entered this race meeting as we go on board with Neil Lobb. Ahead of him, he's got Neil Wetton. He's got a host of cars. That Fiat is very, very potent, I've got to say. Staying with us. There's Yanni van Rooyen on his tail. He's got Neil Wetton. Then we've got 222 is Josh Broom, and Neil Lobb having another fight with Barry Scott in the picture as well.
Fords versus Fiat once again, a little bit further back. Yanni van Rooyen hanging on for dear life, but it is Wetton who's had a good start. He's got away from Broom and Neil Lobb, and let's see whether or not Barry Scott can throw something into the mix here. A little bit sideways. That's where we saw Josh Broom get out of shape last time. He's doing a very similar job, but Neil Lobb is making that Arbath work double time.
What you can't believe is cars like these are 25 and 30 years old, and they're doing it door handle to door handle, giving it. They forget about revs, they just give it. As Josh Broom passes Neil Lobb, but he'll have something to say about that. Neil Lobb is just gathering things together. He's right on his tail. There's nothing between the performance of these two cars, whether it be a Ford Escort or a Fiat 131, the type that Tony Varner actually raced and did very well in the early days.
Also a bit of a family affair with the Lobs, because Darren Lob was actually out there as well. In the second Fiat, he was a bit further down, just a bit off the pace with a bit of problems during practice and qualifying. And in the first heat, he finished up in 19th spot. He's looking to try and make another top 20. But Neil Lob wants those two Fords that he can see just out in front of him.
It is, and he's just lost a wee bit of ground, or it looks like on this camera from the inside. He brakes very late. There's the 100-meter mark. At 50, he lifts off. That is braking very late, or dabbing the brakes and going down a gear as he goes through this Ajib corner, starts to hoof it up the hill. He's got legs up here, gets a lot closer. Here's the others coming down the road. There's some interesting cars. That one with the checkered roof is Martin Buerter, Springbok navigator in the days of Sorrel van der Merwe and all the others. Martin Buerter was right in there, and he is having a bit of fun there.